Welcome to Metal Wani and Metal Nation Radio. This is your host, Vitek, here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Neil Morse. Thank you very much for taking some time today. How are you doing, sir?
Sure, man. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing really good, but you got to tell me there's no artist in progressive music or any genre that releases as much music as you do. Words seem less for me to explain your journey so far. How is it going on? How excited and nervous are you for this gigantic release, the grand experiment?
Oh, I'm really excited. It's great. It's pretty astounding the reviews it's getting.
Hmm.
People are kind of going crazy over it, and that's really nice. It's like I'm just kind of stepping back and going, "Wow, this is really cool." And it looks, some of the shows on the tour are almost sold out, and so yeah, things are good, man. It's really a blessing, and we're very thankful.
That's amazing. Now, every time you release an album, all the fans ask just one question. How can Neil Morse top himself this time? So what sort of challenges did you face on this particular album?
Well, one of the biggest challenges for me on this album was to step out of the way.
Right.
Yeah, I intentionally didn't come in with a lot of material, and I wanted to give the other guys a lot of room,
Hmm.
and it really paid off. And I think that's one of the reasons why this album is so special and sounds so fresh and everything is because much of it I didn't write.
Okay. That's surprising.
It sounds kind of strange to say. The reason why this album is so good is because it's not all mine. But when you open things up and you share with others, and we played off each other, and we wrote it all together. It's not that I didn't have anything to do with it. Of course I did.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really let the guys express themselves, and I think the results are plain to hear.
Absolutely, because when I look at this term, the grand experiment, it's more like something which actually you are trying to do. You're such a prolific career. I don't recollect you actually not being part of the entire album. When I look at your discography, it's everything you write on your own. And this here, for the first time, you're writing with the other friends, the other band members. So this experiment must have been pretty much complex yet challenging for you to let's say, no more Neil Morse bringing in a huge stack of endless themes and reprises. It's just the band jamming together and coming up with songs.
Yeah, it was different, but I've had a lot of practice getting used to and ready for something like this because Transatlantic and Flying Colors majorly, Transatlantic not as much, but still Transatlantic's very collaborative,
Right.
and but we'll use long whole sections of pieces of music that are pretty much as the guy wrote it.
True. Yeah.
But whoever it is, Pete or Royna or myself. But Flying Colors is very,
Collaborative.
always very collaborative, and
Hmm.
you can anything you bring to Flying Colors is going to get changed for sure. And so
That's
you
right.
just kind of get used to it, and you realize that it's good to work that way. I don't always want to work that way.
Hmm.
Sometimes I still write on my own and all of that. But I think the projects that I do with other people are very special, and it seems like people are really appreciative of them.
Absolutely. Now, while I, as a fan, listen to the album, it strongly indicates to me that you are going to continue to lead the progressive rock music, and you have a right team to actually support you in terms of coming up with this material. Yet you always sound fresh, and that refreshing feeling on every Neil Morse album I listen to. For you personally, as a musician, how do you tend to explore that huge musical spectrum in your brain?
Well, I don't know. Of course, for me, I just give God all the glory.
Right.
As a Christian, I'm just like, well, praise the Lord, and I'm thankful that Jesus has led me this way, and I don't know really how it all works exactly. Sometimes things just come to me. Sometimes I'll wake up in the morning just with whole pieces of music in my mind.
Hmm.
And other times it seems to, you're just working on something and something comes out of your hands, or you'll hear a thought somewhere, and you'll think, oh, that'd be a good line for a song, and you start mulling it over. But I don't know how it all works.
Uh-huh.
I just love, my favorite part is the creative process, and I just am always eager and grateful to just be able to keep creating.
Oh, that's really awesome. Because for me as a fan, when I look at this album, I mean, it's still not clear to me why was this no more a Neil Morse album than the Neil Morse band. I mean, what's the reason behind shifting? Is it just a name change, or it's actually the entire, the horoscope of the band?
Well, since we went at the album all together,
Mhm.
it just seemed right to me that it should be called the Neil Morse Band. It's really the first, in a sense, it's the first Neil Morse Band album ever.
Debut album.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, when I listen to the songs, I always feel spiritually connected. Like, I also believe in God, and when I listen to your music, it's the same feeling. Then I listen to your tracks on this album. The lines like "Now I am free," "I feel alive again," and then on few of the songs you have certain lines like "shouted from a megaphone, wear it like a French cologne." So it's more like how you poke fun at what people do with their agendas.
Well, Alive Again was that chorus line. That line was written by Eric Gillette, actually.
Uh-huh.
And so, I think we were all coming from the same kind of place, I think, for the most part. And those lyrics and agenda, I don't know, I was just sort of playfully thinking about, my beautiful agenda, which is really, people usually use the word agenda in a derogatory way,
Right.
in a negative way. And really, in that song, I'm using it in a positive way, because my agenda would be that people would come to know the Lord, and that's my agenda that never dies, and that I'm shouting through a megaphone, and and then the chorus I say, hey, there's a place, there's a good spiritual place you can get to, and
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about in there. But however people take things, we'll get there.
That's right. I mean, there's words like, there's a place I know where the grace won't go away and the battle lines are gray. And I, as a fan, when I listen to it, for me, it's just amen to that. I feel really great.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad. Glad you're blessed by that. That's
Awesome. Now,
awesome.
talking about guitars, I mean, Eric has, written a lot of stuff on this. So all the solos written by Eric, or you guys wrote it mutually?
Yes.
So was it mutually written, or it was written separately by Eric?
I'm sorry about the guitar solos. What?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
guitar solos.
Say it again.
Yeah, I meant the guitar solos, or let's say the lead parts on the albums are written by Eric alone, or was it a collaborative process between you two?
Let's see. He wrote most of his own solos.
Uh-huh.
I have I did the solo on Agenda, and maybe that's it. I don't know if I did any other guitar solos on there. I think he did. He pretty much took the guitar solos on this record, but there aren't that many.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think.
Absolutely.
I think there's one in, yeah, he did the one in Grand Experiment,
Grand Experiment. Mm-hmm.
and he did the stuff in The Call. Yeah, so the only one that I did was actually the one in Agenda.
Oh, that's cool. Now, the main advantage of this album for me, it's always the vocals. I mean, all of you, the great musicians, have great voices, and then you combine and create those amazing vocal harmonies. I mean, it's really great to see how you give some space to Eric and Bill, for their astonishing lead vocals, and then you come back with those crazy multi-layered vocals. Actually, it reminds me of, Thoughts, or even Author of Confusion.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, well, we all love harmonies. The whole band, is just totally into that.
Right.
And we definitely talked about that at the beginning of the sessions, that we wanted to get Eric and Bill's voices out there and have multiple lead vocals, and we were all really, so early on that was a plan.
Sounds really good. And Alive Again, I mean, words cannot describe World Without End on previous album, and now Alive Again. It makes it so easy for you to write, 25 minutes, please, epic songs.
Well, I mean, we worked on that one quite a bit. Alive Again took us, I think, 3 or 4 days to arrange and write together.
Hmm.
I mean, so it didn't just spill out, in a day, but 3 or 4 days still isn't that long, I guess. And, yeah, we just, you start, it's like going on a journey together. You start it together, you start in one place and you just kind of move ahead and
Right.
what seems good. And I think we did a version without, we changed it around. We come in the next day and go, I think we need something more exciting in the beginning. I think originally we went kind of straight from the majestic guitar part at the beginning of Live Again into the verse. And I was like, I don't know. I think we need some excitement before we get down into that verse because it's kind of a quiet verse.
Right.
And so we came in and then we worked on the really exciting jam part that I'm practicing now for the tour and trying to get in my hands.
Awesome. That's really cool. And then you have Mike. I mean, he just never fails to amaze you on every album. I mean, even on Alive Again, from the 3.5 minute onwards, he just goes crazy on drums. And I'm sure you must have been awestruck looking at him nailing those parts smoothly.
Yeah, he's incredible. It's like he gets better every year. He's such an amazing musician and a producer and arranger. He really. I joked with him at one point during the making of this album. I said maybe we should call this the Mike Portnoy Band because he's actually just as involved as I am in shaping this album. I can't say enough about the other guy's involvement.
Awesome. Now, Neil, I mean, looking at your profiling career from so many decades, after every album you release, I'm sure you come across various situations where fans, or let's say people in general, express their opinions on the album. Do you really care about what others think about your music? I mean, do you even think of changing something just because someone outside the band told you so?
Oh, not usually.
Hmm.
We pretty much try to create from as honest and unencumbered place as we can.
Hmm.
But it's nice. We care what people think. It matters to us whether people are blessed by it. You're not doing this. You're not playing music only for yourself.
Right.
You're playing it to share it with others, and you want to, have other people have the experience. The exhilarating and touching and moving and all the things that music is, which is
Right.
too numerous. It's too numerous to list. The beauty and the majesty of it all. And you're trying to share that with other people. So yeah, it's really satisfying when people tell you, yeah, I really, I cry every time I hear this song, or, I just love this. This is like the soundtrack of my life, kind of thing. It means a lot.
Spiritual connection with the fans.
Well, yeah. Well, the spiritual connection would be the highest and the best thing, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really good. Now, being part of the prog world for last few decades, how do you feel that this entire progressive world has changed since you became part of it?
Well, I mean, it's changed quite a bit. It's come more to the forefront, I think. I mean, it seems like there's a lot more talk about it, and they have prog stages at festivals sometimes now, and that wasn't going on before. And
Mhm.
I think it's pretty cool. There seems to be a bit of a resurgence that's been happening for many years now.
Absolutely true. Now, what are the plans of taking this material live? I'm sure you have a tours coming up. So, what all different areas are you exploring this time?
Well, we're drawing from all different times of my career, and so we'll be playing, the new album, most of the new album,
Hmm.
and we'll be digging some surprises out of the bag from the past, and even digging way back, to some really interesting stuff. I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. And any plans of live DVD? Because you always seem to film whenever you go on tour.
I need to schedule something. I haven't scheduled anything yet.
All right. So possibly a live DVD of one of your shows somewhere in Europe, because I generally feel you like to play in Europe. I mean, your fans there are pretty crazy, especially when it comes to Holland.
Yeah, it would be good to film in Holland. Absolutely.
I wish I know. I have a plan of seeing you guys live in Europe, so I really hope to catch you guys and experience this grand experiment live, because these songs like these are well cherished when it's played live, and it makes it even more epic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to come, man.
Fantastic, Neil. Before I conclude the interview, how about you define the debut album, or let's say the grand experiment, in just one sentence?
Wow. I've never been asked that. Just one sentence. Well, this album spans the musical climates from cold to hot to everything in between, to, it's the highest mountaintop experiences and some, deep, low valleys and everything. I think there's everything expressed in this album. It runs quite the gamut of musical expression, and I think you'll be thrilled to listen to it.
It's already released in some part of the world, isn't it?
It's released in North America now, and it's coming out next week in Europe.
Next week in Europe, right. Thank you very much, Neil, for doing this interview. Always an honor of having a chat with you. I look forward to see you guys. At least have a date in London, because I plan to see you guys there.
Awesome. Yeah, come on out, man.
Thank you very much, Neil. You have a wonderful, wonderful day ahead, and thank you very much once again.
Thank you. You too. God bless you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.